What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Simple Man Podcast. My name is Brody. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here for the finale of The Mandalorian. I'm the spy. I told Moff Gideon how to get all the Mandalorians back together. So, all this speculation, all these theory videos, come on, guys, it's me. Nah, just kidding. I talked to Filoni and Favreau about it. They didn't want me in the show because they felt I would distract a little bit too much because I'm just too famous. Like Lizzo and Jack Black, they were high up there, but they felt like they wouldn't distract too much. But I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. Hope you guys had a great weekend and are still enjoying all the fun Star Wars stuff that's been going on over the past couple weeks. Mando Chapter 23 was incredible, at least to me. So I will definitely be covering that. But before we get into it, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, shoot your boy a review. I would really appreciate that. It really helps the exposure of the show. And if you are not following me on YouTube already, I would really appreciate a subscribe there. That's Brody1 Kenobi on YouTube. I've been grinding, honestly. It's been a lot of fun. I have been really enjoying the content that I've been making, and I really appreciate those of you who are supporting or have subscribed or whatever. It means a lot. So, also, before we get into Mando, me and Kaylee are almost done with season 2 of The Clone Wars. We only have one episode left, which is the finale. Honestly, season 2 is way better than I thought it was going to be. I was like really looking for the juice to spice up in, like season 3, season 4, but season 2 was honestly pretty good. There was quite a few arcs that were really essential to the story overall. And I mean, obviously I've seen it all before, but I get mixed up where, the pieces fit in terms of the story and which arcs are in which seasons and whatnot. But honestly, I was surprised at how good season 2 was, and definitely was not as wild and kooky as season 1. So they are getting a little bit more focused. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been really cool. We've been trying to knock it out. We still have a long way to go in terms of Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels before Ahsoka gets here. So later on in the episode, I'm going to be answering some of your guys' questions that you had for me on Instagram. You guys asked me some personal questions along with some Star Wars related questions. So I will be answering as many of those as I can. But how did you guys enjoy Mando Chapter 23? I thought it was awesome, and there's been so much just crap talking on season 3, and I mean, again, I've said it before, a lot of stuff is fair, and I mean, I do get it, but also just nothing's perfect, and there's been so much criticism behind it, and honestly, not a lot of it has been very constructive. I'm hearing so many of the same complaints that, it's directionless and the first 6 episodes were so crappy in comparison to this last episode. And I mean, I get it. This episode was super epic. And I mean, it is sort of, the culmination. This is the penultimate episode of the season. And I don't know. I just don't think this episode could have been nearly as epic without all the setup in the first 6 episodes. And I mean, you can call it filler or whatever, but I mean, each episode has really contributed to, either specific characters and their growth or the story overall. I mean, I don't want to sit here and go over every single point, but I mean, when you look at it, every episode has its own important meaning to what has been leading to the finale. And I mean, I just really don't think that, I can't agree with the fact that it's been going nowhere and nothing's happened like I'm hearing. It just doesn't make sense. So much stuff has happened. And I mean, I do understand that we have moved a little bit away from Din and Grogu. It's not as focused on them, but I mean, season 2, we're so focused on them. And to keep the story going and to expand it, I feel like you have to involve new characters and give them some time to shine, which we've seen in this season. One thing I really don't feel like people are acknowledging or even caring about is the fact that the action has been probably some of the best action that we've ever seen in Star Wars, whether it's the Mandalorians fighting or it's, the Starfighter battles. I mean, I really feel like this season has included some of the best action that we've ever seen in Star Wars. And it just seems like nobody cares about that. It's just all they want is story. And I mean, again, I get that, but it's been epic and I've been really enjoying it. And man, chapter 23 was an absolute heartbreaker at the end. Just got to give a shout out to the boy Paz Vizsla because dang, man, that was so sick. And he went out like an absolute G. And I mean, I really don't think that that death would have been nearly as impactful or emotional without all that setup in the first 6 episodes. We see Paz, and every time the Mandalorians are faced with danger, he like puts himself right in the front lines, and that's just like the most noble thing that you can do. I feel like as a Mandalorian, and he does it once again, and he goes out like a champ. And seeing him destroy like the first 20 troopers before the Praetorians came out was like, I mean, we haven't seen anybody do something like that that's not a Jedi in Star Wars before. So that was pretty cool. Obviously, the Praetorians came in and kicked his ass, but it is what it is. The Praetorians are some of the most tough opponents I think that the Mandalorians have faced up to this point. So it wasn't shocking, to me at least, that he ended up dying. So definitely shout out to him. It was really cool to get more of his character in the season. And for him not to just be an action figure. He was always like a super cool looking dude, and he had some little tiffs with Mando and stuff. But to me, he was just kind of there and, didn't really serve too much purpose in the story. But now, now he leaves his son behind, and who knows, maybe we'll see Ragnar end up being a little bit more important to the story, either in The Mandalorian or down the line in the other shows as, time progresses and he gets older. So how about freaking Moff Gideon? I mean, this mother fricker, he man, he looks so cool. I gotta admit, that Beskar armor is badass. He looks like a combination of like Boba Fett and Darth Vader, and I feel like it's definitely like an iconic Imperial look that is up there with Vader and Boba. And man, Giancarlo Esposito is such a good actor. He plays an evil warlord so well. And it's cool to see, him actually back and that sort of payoff from all the little trickling leads that we had earlier in the season about Moff Gideon coming back. And the fact that there's this entire Imperial base on Mandalore, I was honestly shocked. Like, I did not expect that whatsoever. And I feel like it does make a lot of sense, though. I mean, Gideon is so obsessed, it seems like, with the Mandalorian culture, and he wants to like destroy the past and be sort of the new age of Mandalorians with him as the lead. So I thought that was sick, and I'm sure the finale is going to be absolutely insane. Just complete full-on Mandalorian versus Empire war, and I'm so looking forward to it. I also thought the whole like IG-11 and Grogu thing was pretty awesome. I did make a video on it, but I really think that was a great way to bring back IG-11 without, fully bringing back the character, because I don't know, Star Wars has such a history of bringing back and resurrecting characters. It just didn't feel right for IG-11 to like actually come back after such a like meaningful sacrifice in season 1. So him being just like sort of a vehicle and a little bit of a shield for Grogu, I thought that was perfect. And I mean, it just kind of carries on the legacy of the nurse droid that IG-11 was. So now he's IG-12, and I think that's pretty cool. I loved the part where Paz and Axwove were fighting, and Grogu steps in the middle and, tells them to stop after Bo-Katan basically said, neither side can step in. And it really made me feel like Grogu might seriously be the one that ends up uniting Mandalore. He's so different than everybody else that, people don't look at him like he's on one side or the other. He's like his own sort of deal. And if he becomes like a true Mandalorian and is, powerful in the future, I feel like he could really be the one to, unite everybody and actually be the titular the Mandalorian. So I think that would be awesome, and I can't wait to see what's in store for Grogu. I mean, there's so much possibility with him being, Yoda's species that can live for 1,000 years. There's so much potential there, and I just love that little guy. He's so cute. And people can screw off with their, they think it's like cringe that Grogu is the way he is, and he has these little jokes, and it's like, dude, he's a baby. And it's been like this the whole time. He's always made little jokes, and it's always been like little goofy parts with Grogu and Din, even since the beginning of season one. Like, it's just always been like that, and it's what's made the show so special, at least to me. This unique, dynamic between bounty hunter, Mandalorian, and this little baby Jedi. Like, that is just so cool, and makes the show the best. I mean, it's just so weird how you get these conflicting opinions. For some people, they want it to be all about Din and Grogu, and they don't like how the story is expanding. But then there's some people who are like, Grogu needs to die, basically, and I wish that he wouldn't have come back, and it was just Din on his own. And it's just like, you can't please everybody, and I guess it is what it is, but I am so looking forward to the finale. I mean, I have like bad anxiety about it. I feel like something bad is going to happen. I really hope that it doesn't happen to Grogu or Din, but something I feel is going to happen. Somebody's dying, somebody's getting mind flayed. I don't know. I really, I'm kind of nervous for the finale. More nervous than I have been for an episode of Star Wars in a really long time. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed chapter 23 and are looking forward to the finale. Getting into your guys' questions for me. These are pretty cool. Again, I appreciate you guys reaching out and asking these questions. Some of them are related to The Mandalorian. Obviously, you guys are pretty interested in that. Some of them are a little bit more personal, so let's just get into it. Julio Juarez 33 asks, who do I think will make it out of the Mandalorians? Man, I think there's a chance that Bo-Katan dies, and it might be the reason why they focused on her character so much, and that, she's gotten time to shine, is that they're going to kill her off. But I also feel like, why waste so much time on this character if, she's just going to end up dying? I don't know. I don't know that anybody will die necessarily. In terms of the Mandalorians, I think something bad will happen to Din. Either his memory will get erased, something like that, or he's going to get cloned by Moff Gideon. I don't know. This show is hard to predict, honestly. So we'll just have to see. And that kind of leads me into ZSW_photography. Ooh, not really sure who that is. This guy looks kind of cringe. Just kidding, Zach. I love you, bro. He asked do I think Din is going to die in the finale? And if I had to just give a straight up answer, I would say absolutely no way. I mean, it's Din. It's like, it's his show. It's been his show since day one. They have focus less on him in this season, but come on, are they really going to kill Din Djarin? They've already talked about season 4 a lot, not necessarily season 5, 6, 7, but I know season 4 is going to be a thing, so I just really can't picture them killing Din off and then continuing the show. So Isaac Van Dornick asked me, which Mandalorian has the coolest armor? I mean, straight off the bat, it's got to be Din. He's just the coolest looking dude. I mean, so much of his look was obviously inspired from things from Boba, and Boba was the OG, and I mean, just an iconic look there. But I think Din definitely takes a cake. I really do like Paz Vizsla's design. I think that unique looking helmet and his heavy armor is really cool. And he's one of the only ones that we see like that. Nobody else looks just like Paz. So I really do like his armor as well. Jerry Muto asks, who is my favorite Star Wars character? This has always been one of my favorite questions to answer. Such a not basic in a bad way, just a basic question that is the root of who you are as a Star Wars fan. My favorite character my entire life has always been Luke Skywalker, and I don't know, just nobody's been able to come close in terms of a character that I love. Darth Vader is definitely a close second, but just Luke I've never not said Luke was my favorite character my whole life. I just feel like out of all the movies and all the characters, I learned so much as a child from Luke Skywalker and just the way that he operates morally. And I mean, I just love every iteration that they've done of the character. And I mean, I don't want to get into The Last Jedi, but honestly, I love Luke in The Last Jedi. I feel like he was just perfect, and he's not the same guy, obviously, in Return of the Jedi. I mean, it's been 30 years, and they had to do the story in that way based on the actor's age and everything. I mean, there's a lot they couldn't control in terms of where they started the story. Now we're getting to see a little bit of, Grandmaster Luke in the Mando era in that timeline, but I just think seeing him as a human has always been one of my favorite things about Luke. He's not like a traditional Jedi. He was, a farm boy for the first 19 years of his life, and then he gets sucked into this galactic war really, uncontrolled by, him. He kind of just has to do it, and I just love that. And then he becomes this absolute galactic legend that even after making mistakes and, losing a lot of the ground he gained in terms of being a Jedi, he comes back and he restores hope in like the entire galaxy. I feel like there's a scene right at the end of The Last Jedi that people don't pay attention to at all, with the broom boy and like his little slave friends on Canto Bight. Like they are basically reenacting what happened on Crate with like their little action figures and stuff, and like talking about Luke Skywalker like he's this legend that, saved the galaxy basically, which he is. And I just feel like people don't necessarily like understand or, took the time to really like, understand the story of The Last Jedi like they do the other movies. Again, I don't want to get too deep in The Last Jedi. I could probably go for quite some time on that, but Luke Skywalker, I love that man. I would do anything for that man. And honestly, I really hope they just keep like adding to Luke's story. There's so much there within that 30-year period between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, and obviously we see, his Jedi Order fall, but I hope that we get to see a little bit more of the rise of that. So that would be so cool. Moving on, Jedi Master Dooku, what's up, dude? They ask, if you could change one thing about Star Wars, what would it be? Ooh, that is a tough one, honestly. I don't know that I would change much, to be honest. I think, obviously, you can look at any point in Star Wars history and say, well, it should have gone this way or it should have gone that way. But honestly, if there was one thing I would change about Star Wars, it would seriously be the fans and like the way they act towards Star Wars. It just feels like most fans are like in it for themselves, and like, they want Star Wars to be what they want it to be. And there's not really just an open mindedness to a lot of it. I mean, there's definitely some stuff that is, in the projects today that I'm sure if you showed it to me 5, 10 years ago, I'd be like, what the heck? This isn't Star Wars. But it's grown so much, and I mean, it has to change to stay alive. And I feel like there's just not a lot of, again, open-mindedness or consideration of that fact from the fans. They want it to just be like what it was before, and it just can't be like that. Like, it has to grow and it has to change. And with so much content, I mean, what the creators aren't just going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. They're going to have fun, and they're going to have a wacky episode where Jack Black is in it and Lizzo's in it. Like, those things are going to happen, and they're having fun with Star Wars. And I feel like the fans just need to kind of sit back, relax, and have fun a lot of the times. And again, I'm not saying that you need to just like everything blindly and, accept crappy material or something like that. But honestly, in my eyes, not there really hasn't been that much that's been like bad. Like, here and there it has its moments, but overall, I mean, we have a lot of quality Star Wars on the plate now. I mean, when you look at Disney Plus and the catalog, I mean, there's so much in there compared to where we started with 6 movies and the Clone Wars. So I don't know. I just feel like there's something for everybody, and if I could change anything, it would just be that the fans could let go and have fun a little bit and not just nitpick every little thing. And again, there are things that should be nitpicked, but at the same time, if you didn't like Jack Black, I mean, there's all this other stuff within that episode, that you could enjoy and focus on that. And I guess that's just the type of mentality I have with Star Wars, because I personally like to enjoy it. I don't like to hate it or be upset by it. And honestly, that starts with an open mind and going into each episode, with just kind of a clean slate and just not really expecting anything. And yeah, that's an awesome question. I love that you asked that, Dooku. Um, They also asked, what upcoming Star Wars project am I most excited for? And honestly, right off the bat, I think it is Ahsoka, just because the trailer, like, just killed it. I loved that trailer. And it just seems like a really unique story that, is obviously a pretty solid continuation of Rebels, but it seems like there's some elements in there that we've never seen in Star Wars before. These dark Jedi kind of figures that are either, I don't know, I've heard a lot of rumors about them. They might be working for Thrawn, they might be from the past, I don't know. They look really cool. I heard a theory actually that was pretty cool about the girl. Her name is Shin. She's like one of the dark Jedi in the trailer. She could be a clone of Luke Skywalker, which I think is actually a pretty cool idea and does pay a lot of tribute to Legends. They cloned Luke in a couple different variations of Legend stories after Return of the Jedi. And it might be a kind of a cool play on the fact, Omega is a clone and she's a female. And, maybe this Shin character is a clone of Luke that is, they're trying to match Luke's power. And, you can only do that by creating another Luke. So I'm definitely super excited for Ahsoka, and I mean, I'm excited for all the projects. There really isn't one that I'm like, I don't really care for that. They all sound like very unique, and I feel like in like 2 years' time, Star Wars is just gonna look completely different. And some people like that, some people don't, but we shall see. All right, I got a couple more questions from you guys. Jason Furman asks, "Do I have any hobbies that I like to do?" And I'm assuming you mean other than Star Wars stuff. I am a person outside of that, and yeah, I do. I love to play guitar. I like to watch other shows other than Star Wars. That's always fun. I really like anything like artistic or creative. That's always just a lot of fun. I feel like when I was younger, I played sports pretty much my whole life, like baseball. I played, from when I was 4 years old to when I was 18 years old. And I was so focused on that that I didn't really like delve into anything creative or artistic until I like became an adult and just started trying things. I just have really fallen in love with like creation and just the artistic process. So that sounds pretty lame, but yeah, I'm pretty much your average guy. I like birds a lot. That's a fun fact about me. I'm a big bird guy. I just love birds. They're really cool. They symbolize freedom and they can fly and we can't. So that's just really cool to me. I live in a place where there's like a lot of birds around, so many different species and stuff, and I just love it. So appreciate you asking that, Jason. On to the next. This is actually, yeah, this will be the final one. Jumping Jack 2005 asks, "What is your favorite Star Wars figure that you own?" And oh boy, do I have way too many. Um, that is a tough question, honestly. There's like so many that have like different sort of meanings or reasons why I love them. I do have some Hot Toys. If you guys don't know what those are, they're like the most detailed Star Wars figures you can find. They're like $300 each, sometimes even more. But I have, let's see, six of those, and they're just so sick. I mean, definitely in terms of like the quality of the figure, those are my favorite. But I definitely have some other ones that are like a little bit more meaningful to me. Um, you guys might know there's the Power of the Force, I think. I don't actually. I think they might be like you guys remember the old packaging of the Star Wars figures. It's like has Darth Vader on it, and it's like green and orange. There's like two variations. One's green and one's orange. I think they might be Power of the Force. I don't know. I'm blanking on the name of that series, but anyway, there's a Luke stormtrooper figure where his helmet comes off and oh man, I just love that figure so much. It was one of my favorites as like a little kid. I can remember like being 4 years old and having that figure and just being so in love with it. And then I lost his helmet in my grandparents' front yard and never found it. And so, when I started collecting it again, when I got a lot older, that was one of the first things that I bought because I just love that figure so much. And man, I have way too many. I'm looking around my collection here and I'm like, oh, I love that one. I love that one. But yeah, I have a C3PO. It's not an action figure, but it's like a little it's not like a stuffed animal. It's like a little almost like it looks like a C3PO voodoo doll. um It's from really long ago. I don't even remember when I got it. I must have been super young, but I used to play with it all the time when I was a kid and like throw it down the stairs and stuff. And I love that guy. He's sitting on my shelf here, so that's definitely one of my favorites. I also really just love anything Darth Vader that I have. He's like probably my favorite character to have merch of. He just makes such sick merch. Darth Vader's just like the coolest, baddest looking character in the galaxy. So, but yeah, that's it for the questions. I really appreciate you guys asking those. I'll definitely do that again. It's a lot of fun to have a little bit more interaction with you guys on the show. Sometimes it could be kind of quiet from your guys' end. Honestly, you guys don't even talk to me, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I do want to let you guys in on a little secret. Those of you guys who are listening this far, I'm seriously considering changing officially Star Wars to Brody One Kenobi. Really wouldn't change the content too much. Just I feel like it would help align my brand a lot more. All my other accounts on other platforms are Brody One Kenobi. And I don't know, it just feels kind of like the right time to do it while I'm trying to grow my YouTube and everything. Honestly, I never really liked the name officially Star Wars. I thought it was lame, but it just stuck kind of at the beginning. There was definitely a period right in the first couple months where like I was gonna change the name, but like the account was having success, so I just didn't. And it stuck and it's done me good, and I really appreciate officially Star Wars and what it's done for me. But there's just a lot more opportunity for like creators when their name is involved. Honestly, you'd be surprised how much of a difference it makes. Even if I were to make the same exact content, I have a strong feeling that if my name is Brody One Kenobi instead of officially Star Wars, that brands will want to work with me more and they won't view me as much of a fan page, but more of an influencer. So that's kind of my goal. And, I am still thinking about it, but I really am thinking that's what I'm going to do. So just giving you a heads up and venting about that to you, my loyal Simple Man listeners. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you listening. I'm hoping to have some guests on within the next few episodes. I just wanted to get on my grind before I involved in anybody else, and I feel like I've found a pretty good rhythm with the podcast, so should be expecting guests within the next few episodes, so we shall see. If you don't already, please subscribe to me on YouTube at Brody One Kenobi. You can find the podcast there if you don't want to listen on an audio platform. I do post a podcast, and there's no video to it; it's just the audio. But I make a sick graphic for it, so you can check that out. Give me a rating on Spotify or Apple if you listen there. I would seriously appreciate that. It definitely helps the show. Yeah, I will be back next week for another episode after the Mando finale. Man, I'm so excited. Hope you guys are too. I will talk to you next week. May the force be with you. Peace.